Hey, thanks for stopping by our channel today. My name's Robert and this is Pheasant Lane Farm. There's been some good news, exciting news in the works for the last 3 or 4 months, and today is the day I get to share that exciting news with you. First things first, this is all 100% due to our great friends at Aeroquip. Behind us, you will see this is my Aeroquip Q-Catch 54 Series squeeze chute that my wife and I bought earlier this spring for our small cattle operation. And when I mean small, we just took our steers in to butcher and there were two. But hey, you got to start somewhere, right? Luckily, God blessed me by being born into a livestock family. The only downside to that was we didn't have cattle. Dad had draft mule, Amish pulling style teams. My mom was a horse trainer, anything from minis to Belgians, Percherons. My mom would train anything in between. Deep down, I always wanted cattle. On and off, when I was a kid, we'd raise hogs out for ourselves and others, but I wanted cattle. Fast forward to a little bit older in life, you got a job, you got some money, and my wife talked me into buying this property. We bought this property in March of 2020, and when I say it was a diamond in the rough, that's an understatement. I was told 80 years ago this used to be a cattle farm. There's a little house on the back of 20 acres, and the rest is pretty much overgrown woods. When I say this place was overgrown, right where we are standing now is our 30 by 80 livestock barn. To the north of me is a couple acres of pasture. I cleared 90% of this by myself with a Kubota tractor, a grapple, and a rotary cutter brush hog. When I say this was thick, I didn't run into 1, 2, or 3 pieces of farm equipment. I ran into 13 pieces of abandoned farm equipment out here that you couldn't see when we bought this property because it was so thick. So it has been a labor of love. Fast forward to October of 2020. We're clearing land, we're, planning on building a barn. Kiddo had 2 horses at the time, 2 minis. I wanted to build a barn that I could have some cattle, she could have some pastures. And life, as it often does, threw us a pretty big curveball. I went to work just like any other day. I was in law enforcement. It was a Monday. And that afternoon, some things went down that shouldn't have. An officer got dispatched to another call, or to that call. I was in charge that day. I said, hey, you have to go do this. I'll take that call for you. No big deal. Well, that call almost cost me my life. It did cost me a couple surgeries, the loss of use of a large percentage of my right arm, and 18 months of physical therapy. Now, don't feel bad for me because I don't feel bad for myself. I hate the word disabled, so I'm not going to use it. But I do have some limitations that I have to work with my arm. After my accident, I thought, how are we going to make our dreams go forward? How am I going to have cattle when I can't work them safely? Or I'm, at that point in time, I was just starting the 18 months of physical therapy. It was the longest patient hospitals up here had seen for physical therapy. But I'd never gave up, and I always had the dream of having a barn and having land, having pastures, having animals, and I didn't stop. Which led into, looking back at it now, one of the, a risky financial situation. One day we're sitting on the couch. I had 1 year where I was going to get paychecks, and then I knew my paychecks were going to stop on December 31st. Well, September, I looked at my wife and I said, you know what? I'm not going to let the decisions that one person made that affect me for the rest of my life stop our dreams and stop the plans we had for our daughter. She wanted her horses here more than anything. They were luckily at my dad's farm. So I made a not so wise looking back, but then again, the best decision of my life. I knew my paychecks were going to stop in 3 months. So I said, you know what? I have enough money in the checking account to buy a barn, have a barn built. Let's spend all that money. And that's exactly what we did. Like I said, looking back now, maybe that wasn't the smartest decision, but hey, everything works out one way or another. So we got the barn built with the help of family and friends. We put some stalls in, we put some pastures up, some temporary pastures. And I said, you know what? The next step is getting cattle. But at the same time, knowing that I don't have a lot of use of my right arm, severe nerve damage, there's like 22 or 25 pins in there. You can't even count. There's so many on x-ray. 3 metal plates hold my arm together. I said, I can't afford to hurt my arm again. My surgeons told me right before surgery I was going to wake up and I wouldn't have an arm. Miraculously, they saved my arm. But they basically told me I was a clay pot being held together with Elmer's glue. If I ever severely damaged this arm again, there was a good chance I would lose it above the elbow. So that makes you think really hard about the decisions for the rest of your life. But at the same time, I wasn't ready to give up on my goals of having cattle. So that sent me down this rabbit hole of cattle handling equipment. And I have to say, there's a lot of brands. There's, blue chutes, red chutes, green chutes. Those are like the big three people look at. But I mean, I dove in deep to this rabbit hole. If it was a mom and pop shop making cattle chutes in their back garage of their fab shop in South Texas, I researched them. I found reviews. I found videos. I read everything I could for months. I watched everything I could find for months. And the funny thing was, Aeroquip kept coming back on the top of every one of my lists. Now, primarily, what was the top of my list? Safety. What was second on my list? Ease of operation. And third, I need something that's going to be around for a long, long time. Now, my wife and I have a young daughter. Sometimes it's just her and I out here doing stuff with these cattle. And I was willing to pay for the safety that goes into this equipment. Now, unfortunately, in all my research that I did on cattle chutes, cattle handling equipment, you do come across people who've been severely injured. Unfortunately, you do come across people who have died because of cattle or cattle handling equipment failing. And that's not an option for me. When you think of my young daughter out here helping me, these calves, I mean, they're tamed to the sense that, they'll come up to her, they let her pet her. None of these cattle are, halter broke. They're not show steers or anything like that. So they are still wild animals and they are unpredictable. And I constantly, no matter what chute video I watched, was what's the safety in this chute? Having the limitations on my arm, I needed something that was easy to operate. There's some cool chute designs out there, but I didn't want something that had pulleys. I didn't want something that had chains. I didn't want something that took two hands to operate at all times. If I can put my daughter on one lever and I can be on another one, we can work these cattle safely and efficiently, and that's the most important thing to me. So I had it narrowed down to an Aeroquip. Unfortunately, I hadn't been able to put my hands on an Aeroquip. We went to some trade shows, some things like that, and actually at Quarter Horse Congress in Columbus, Ohio, it's a very big horse show every October, Quarter Horse Show. My wife and I go down every year, let kiddo pick out some stuff, look around for horses, and I was like, boom, there's an Aeroquip sign. So I walked into this hall, and there's a couple chutes sitting there. My dad was with me, and like I said, my dad doesn't have a background in cattle. And when we got to operate this chute and see how smooth it was, there's nothing that locks permanently into a place that you can't just undo easily. I knew right then and there I was going to buy an Aeroquip. So fast forward to spring of this year, money's kind of tight sometimes. I'm on a pension. I'm back in college full time. So I'm basically a retired college student, if that makes any sense. Hoping to go back to work soon. It's been almost 3 years since I've worked. And still at the same time trying to make your goals and your dreams move forward. It's a juggling act. I saw that Aeroquip had a sale. I talked to my wife. We jumped on it. We weren't planning on buying a chute until later this year, but we jumped on it and I couldn't have been happier. Now, when you're in a research mode for a chute or anything, I called a dealer. Now, when you call an Aeroquip dealer, sometimes it reroutes you to the factory at Manitoba, Canada. I talked to Ryan and Luca, and I don't mean to sound cliche, but it's also like you become really good friends real quick, almost family. They will put you in contact with a great dealer in your area that they think you will work well with. And for me, that was Ross Cockrell near Worcester, Ohio. He's about an hour and a half from me. And a great guy. He messaged me one day and he goes, "Hey, have you seen Aeroquip's corporate video?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, I think you're in it." So he's some good looking dudes in that video joking around. I watched the video and I responded, "Yeah, that must be my brother." So when you can joke around people like that you've only known for a few months, it does feel like family to me. Having a piece of equipment here did make me part of the Aeroquip family, and that means a lot to me also. So back on track of kind of this good news. When we got this chute, I was so impressed with the quality, the engineering, and the safety that is built into this piece of equipment. I did a video just thanking them on the buying experience. Now, how many people go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on something and then do a video thanking the company? Now, this wasn't free. We paid for this with our own hard-earned money. And that's how impressed I was with this piece of equipment. I know, hands down, Aeroquip is the safest, well-made, well-engineered piece of cattle handling equipment on the market. I would put my money and I would put my arm on that. If something happens to me and I get hurt, is it worth losing my arm for? Yeah, but it's not going to happen with a piece of Aeroquip equipment. So I did that video, and the rest is basically history. It was just a thank you video to those guys. One of my best friends lives in town here. I called him. I go, hey, I need some help moving this tire here on the farm. Can you come over and help me? So he helped me. We went to lunch at a local diner here in town. I was actually scrolling through and saw that Aeroquip had a giveaway. So I go, huh, that's weird. Aeroquip has a giveaway, and today's the deadline. I hadn't heard anything about it any time up until this. And he goes, well, what do you have to do? So I read the thing. I go, you just got to do a YouTube video. He goes, well, do it. I said, I already did one. I go, and I don't know, it was kind of what they were looking for. I said, my title's not right. Don't have the hashtags. He goes, what do you have to lose? And I said, you know what? Nothing. So we changed the title of that video. I put the hashtags in there. That was that. 3 months went by, didn't hear anything. I thought, hey, cool. Kind of forgot about it, taking a full load of college classes, trying to keep things going on here at home. And one day, I get an email from marketing department that we won the Aeroquip grand prize of $7,500 of free Aeroquip equipment. And I remember I was studying for an accounting exam at the time, and I go, this can't be right. This is a scam. But then I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I called them, and they go, yeah, you won. Congratulations, And it's phenomenal. Just the opportunity that we have to have more Aeroquip equipment on our farm is a life-changing experience for us and this farm, our cattle operation as a whole. We're in the expansion phase. Like I said, last year we took 2 in. This year we're going to buy more. Next year more. We don't pull any money out of this. Like I said, most of what we feed here goes to our own personal family consumption. But I'm not against making this a small business. Even if I don't pull a dollar out of it for a long time, I want to keep growing. I want to keep fulfilling my dream, basically, and Aeroquip is making that happen. So with Aeroquip right now, their big focus is kind of on the small rancher and operator. When people think of cattle operations, they automatically assume that you're running 500 to 5,000 head, and that's just not the case for the majority of American producers. If I find that number, I will add it in here and the source from where I found it from. So there's no steers in here right now, but I heard something, just a bird. It kind of scared me for a minute. So Aeroquip is making that possible for us to keep chasing our dreams. I want to have some good equipment here on the farm. I was in the process of trying to save some money to buy some of this equipment. So it's literally a godsend for us. So everyone at Aeroquip, if you're watching this video, I just want to say thank you. You don't understand how important it is just to our operation here, but to our lives in general, to be awarded that. Now, we did add on some stuff here, so actually I owe Aeroquip some money. Aeroquip is known for their high pressure, their heavy duty, if you want to think of it that way, panels. They've also recently come out in low pressure panels. Think of those as light duty. They're a little bit lighter. I've been told the horse people are kind of falling in love with them, so I had to get some of those. We have a 5-month-old foal next door, and we have a big 60-foot round pen, but at the same time, I wanted some other panels. I wanted to be able to make a small corral out here. I want to be able to move them over there easily. Aeroquip's big panels, I do have some of those coming, and I'm excited to have those, but those are built super duty, and if I have to move one by myself with the whole arm limitation, that's not really possible. So we have a lot of things coming from Aeroquip. To be honest, I can't remember everything I ordered. It was a while ago, so I'd have to look that up. But here's the big thing I want to say. Aeroquip is focusing on the small operator, and their goal is to have an Aeroquip on every farm and ranch. And right now, they're at a small percentage of that, but I have no doubt that they're going to continue to grow and meet that demand for having the best chutes on the market and cattle handling equipment and overall. And like I said, there's a lot of people that see the price of an Aeroquip or, kind of back at it, kind of balk at it. It's safety. You can't put a price on it. at least in my experience, and that's all I'm talking from, this is the safest, the best chutes on the market. So we are excited to be having that. I'm not partnered with Aeroquip, but we just won this. I just want to say thank you to those guys again. And one other thing I really want to mention. We have a small facility here. This barn is 30 by 80. At the time, it's all I had to pay cash for. I didn't want to go into debt knowing that my paychecks were ending in 3 months. So we have a 30 by 40 horse barn on one end with 5 horse stalls and a tack room for kiddo. And this end is kind of my paradise over here. So we have a 10 by 40 steer pen over here. We're looking to expand that. I have a hay wagon back here full time. This is another hay trailer we got in here right now. And I use that 10 by 40 pen kind of as a holding pen to run these cattle through the chute. And it didn't work out as smoothly as I wanted to. Arrowquip reached out to me after they announced this to me and said, let us design you a system that's going to work better. Now, when I think of Arrowquip systems, I think like our Wyoming Life, huge cattle systems. They're phenomenal. They're cool. They'd be great to have something like that. But we're a small potatoes operation here. And it didn't matter whether you're ordering $500,000 off of Aeroquip or a few panels. I sent them a scale drawing on my barn, where my chute is, where my feed bunk is, where some gates are that can be opened and closed. And they sent me not 1, not 2, but 3. They would work on it. They'd bounce the ideas off some other people, and they'd say, no, we can make it better. Then that one, they said, hey, you ready to put your order in? Next day, hey, don't put that order in. We talked to some more people. We have a better idea for you. So for a company that's willing to take the time on a small operation that's growing out 2 head a year, hopefully in the next year or two, I'm at 10 head a year and just keep growing, putting up new pastures. We're clearing land all the time. But that they took the time, 3 days, to come up with a solution for me to run cattle out of this pen as a holding tank into this chute and then back out into my pasture, or an alleyway under the trailer, or a separate pen out here with portable corrals. That meant the world to me. So Ryan, Luca, everyone that worked on those designs, thank you very much. I can't thank you guys enough. And that's basically all I have to say. I don't have the equipment yet. It should be here in the next couple weeks, and I'm super excited, and please expect some videos on that. So we're very fortunate to have this grand prize coming here. I'm still at a loss for words, and I still believe that sometimes I feel it's not real. But it's going to be so awesome to have everything in this barn Aeroquip. New panels up here. These are actually some round pen panels I stole from Kiddo's 60-foot round pen for the time being. And all this is going to be Aeroquip. It's just so exciting. So Aeroquip, thank you guys again for everything, for helping us out. It does mean the world to us. For all the viewers, subscribers, if it's your first time here, welcome. For those of you that have been here around here for a while, thank you for your continued prayers and support. This is the first time I've ever really won anything, so that's exciting. But on the flip side, 3 doctors told me I shouldn't be alive. So every day, I feel like the luckiest man on earth. Thank you to Aeroquip. Thank you to you guys. We will catch you on the next one. Take care. God bless. And as always, make smart decisions.